Hi guys, welcome back to TNG Productions. My name is Tom. We're back with another Citadel Contrast painting video, and this time we're going to focus on the blues, and it's because of this beautiful miniature here that I was painting last night. This is Corbelli from Gilball, and I was just testing out how dry brushing looks over the contrast paints, and as you can see, I've used one of the blues that we're going to be talking about today, Ultramarine blue, and dry brush, and it came out really well, and it got me thinking, the blues have received quite a lot of attention, so I thought I'd try them out. So I'm back again with the two undercoat paints. You've got the Grey Sea on the left and the Wraithbone, which has just gone off camera. We're starting with Ultramarine blue here using my Army Painter Regiment brush, and we are just getting it all over the model. You'll notice a little bit later I do change to a bigger brush because these Infinity miniatures that I'm trying it on have a lot of detail. Now the paint goes on really nicely over both Grey Sea and Wraithbone, as we've talked about in previous videos. However, power armour is a tricky thing, and I think even though the Infinity miniatures have a lot of detail, I think something like Space Marines or Stormcast might actually struggle with these contrast paints unless you use the contrast medium, because they do go on quite heavy and the inking, or should I say the shading, is actually quite strong. So here you can see it going onto the Wraithbone undercoat as well, trying to get into all of those nooks and crannies. Now this Ultramarine blue, obviously by the name, is going to be one of the more popular options, I believe. It is quite a dark blue, and I think when you see it in a second when I show you the side-by-side comparison, I think there is value to using that contrast, and I think that will go on throughout. And actually, even though I'm going to start with probably the more popular blues, the ones that we look at later I think are actually the better colours, as you'll see. So here we're going to come on to the dried comparison. So on the left you've got the Grey Sea, and you can see this beautiful deep blue colour with the highlights there, but it is mostly a strong blue with a deep shade as opposed to the highlighting that we saw in both the flesh tones and the brown colours in the last two videos. The Wraithbone, as you can see, not much difference, and I think I'm noticing that with the contrast paints. When you've got the deeper colours, it's not as big a difference in terms of which undercoat you use. So we're going to go on to Leviathan blue next, and I think this is probably my least favourite of the blue colours. It is a very, very deep blue, almost like an indigo colour. And it'd probably be really useful for the people who are looking at maybe current Thousand Suns or even the Night Lords in Warhammer 40k. Deep blue colour, you can see going over the Grey Sea quite comfortably here. But again, I'm slapping it on relatively heavy, but I'm trying to move the paint around as I'm using it. As you can see there, it's not pooling in any major locations, and yet it is struggling to let that undercoat colour come through. So again, I think the use of something to thin it out will probably help the pigment spread a little bit further. You probably get more use out of it there, and you probably get more, more value for your money. So let's go on to the Wraithbone here, and you'll be able to see a comparison. Throughout the video, I think the Wraithbone does allow a little bit more depth to the colour. I think you'll see that when we look at the slightly lighter tones that you can see stacked up on my paint station. So here they are dried, and you can see what I mean by that kind of deep stealth armour kind of blue that you often see in kind of like, Batman and things like that. It's a really, really solid colour. I don't think there's much variation in this colour here, and I think if I had another go, I'd maybe put it over a metallic spray, and I have got some Infinity models left to do that with in maybe a future video if people are interested, seeing how these contrasts go over metallics. So we're on to Talassar blue next, which is the cyan colour as it's being popularised by a load of other YouTubers. This is basically your Seraphim blue, is what I think you call it, the the Dino people from Age of Sigmar. It's a beautiful strong colour. The value of the contrast paints being able to do the shading and the strong tone in one coat really comes through here. So I'm starting with the Wraithbone this time because I'm a professional and put the wrong model first, but you'll see the Grey Sea in a second. So the Wraithbone offering a really nice warm kind of undercurrent to go through, and actually when you see the highlights coming through, you do see it's kind of like almost creamy blue underneath, so you can see it's a really, really beautiful colour that covers fantastically well. Here's the Grey Sea going on as well. This offers the colder tones. Like I said, as you go towards these more lighter colours as we demo them, I think you will see the difference between the undercoats. But I do think with the darker tones, there isn't really much difference. And actually, Corbelli, the miniature you saw right at the start, was just using a really cheap spray primer from a DIY store, which was a darker grey. And actually, I couldn't tell much difference with the dark tones that I used on him. So, value there. So you can see them side by side, and you can see what I mean about that strong tone. It's such a nice colour, and I think there's a video up on Mini Wargaming painting a large kind of dinosaur model and layering the blues, and the guy started with the lighter blue and then built the darker ones on top, and it looked fantastic, and this was the base colour for that. So strong recommendation. Like I said, as we're moving along, we're getting to kind of my more favourite colours. Next up though, if we zoom ahead, probably my favourite one. This is Aethermatic blue. And I think this is going to be a new staple for undead and kind of Nighthaunt players. This is a really, really translucent green, and it will compete with the Nighthaunt Gloom and the other more greeny one technical paint that already exists in the GW range. This is that kind of spiritual glow, that typical ghostly glow, shall we say. And I've got some Nighthaunt Briar Queen models for Nightvault that I'm definitely going to paint up using this technique. So you can see it going on the grey seer here. I can't actually choose which undercoat I like better with this because they both do slightly different things, as you'll see when they dry. The Wraithbone gives a slightly more kind of warmth, as you'd expect, but also the etherealness is a little bit more pronounced in the green, whereas over the grey seer, obviously being a colder tone, it makes it look a little bit more transparent, so you do get that kind of colder tone. And I think you'll be able to tell me in the comments which one you prefer in a second. So we'll have a look at them dried. Again, I'm just slopping it on these Infinity models. It's by no means a painting tutorial, but look, this is the grey seer, and you can see a wonderful kind of etherealness, and you can see I've deliberately painted the robes on this guy, so you can imagine with Nighthaunt or Ghost models that tend to have more flowing aspects how they look. But as you can see the warmth coming through, these paints, as we're seeing near the end now, are really starting to show the highlighting aspect as well as the shading, unlike the Ultramarines and Leviathan blue. So final one, it's technically a blue, I think, isn't it? Pterodon turquoise. It's close enough, and it saves me doing the greens as well in one video because I'm going to run out of models at this rate. So using these, this green colour is absolutely beautiful. We've already seen the Orc Flesh in the Flesh Tone video, but this is a really, really cool one for power armour. I think this could potentially go over a silver metallic for maybe like old style Alpha Legion paint really well, but as you see it going on the grey seer undercoat here, that colour is fantastic. And I think if you've got Infinity or anything sci-fi-ish, painting power armour in this colour is going to be quick, efficient, and it's going to look stunning on the table. If you pick a really good spot colour on the base to pick out maybe a snow base, it'll look fantastic. And look at me sounding like I know what I'm on about with painting. I'm just slapping this on with a big brush and kind of taking credit for it. But this is who the paints are designed for. They're designed for people like me who don't really have the skills or the patience, perhaps, and to get some really solid tabletop results. And like, as you saw in the miniature at the start of the video, dry brushing over these is an option. So you can see this is the colour over the grey seer, and it's really picked out the depths of this beautiful model, to say. And actually, I think, should I strip all the models down, I could probably paint a Force in this colour. Over the Wraithbone, you can see very similar results. I think I prefer the grey seer for the Pterodon turquoise, and I think I'll probably keep that in mind as I look towards the greens, because there's some good variety there. So, as you can see, another comparison there for us, and I'd like to say a massive thank you again for both Games Workshop and Brickcraft for providing us with these contrast paints to review and look at early. If you want to check them out on Facebook, there will be a link in the description and the pinned comments. You have a chance to win either a Warhammer 40,000 or an Age of Sigmar starter set box if you like their page and comment on the post that will be tagged. So, thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Hi guys, thank you very much for watching our content. It means the world to us. If you'd like to see some more videos, they should be over here. And if you'd like to support our channel, keep these lights on. You can find links to our Patreon and merchandise in the description below. See you later.